Hi everyone! Today we are looking at a new release from Johanna Basford, but it's a little bit different. It is not a colouring book, but it is a colouring product. So this is Notes from Nature, 30 affirmation cards to colour. These have become quite popular over the last few years, these affirmation cards. I think you're meant to just draw one every day and it gives you a little bit of a inspiration for the day or just a thought for the day, and Johanna's created some of her own. So it comes in a gorgeous box. It's actually a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. Just do a quick measure. I'll do it in inches. So it's about 5.5 inches wide by 7 inches long, so it's bigger than I thought it was going to be. I was expecting not quite a deck of cards size, but just something a bit like that maybe, but it is quite large, and it's got gorgeous foiling to the front, as Johanna Basford's colouring books usually do. And I don't know whether the camera will pick up on this, but it's almost like a linen feel. Can you see like the different sort of texture on the white bit? It feels really premium and, you know, really well made. So on the sides, we've just got Notes from Nature. It includes 30 cards and a display stand. So one for every day of the week, month. Or one, you know, you could do one a month. It's up to you what you do with them, really. I think it's just nice to have a little sort of gift set. You could give this as a gift to someone really easily. Now let's see the back. It says, channel the calm and positivity of nature, colour blooming flowers, lush foliage and carefree creatures, and be inspired by words of wisdom from the natural world. Whether you're tuning into the affirmations or being uplifted by the colouring vibrant hues, let these cards be your companion in cultivating a joyful, balanced life. And there's a few cards on there as well. So let's just read this little bit. This is all your publisher information, and they were made in China, which is a bit surprising. I thought they might have been made a little bit closer to home, maybe in the US or in the UK, but made in China. Anyways, so on the inside of the box, it says, colour in the beauty of the natural world and be inspired by its uplifting message. Display your finished artwork into the stand and keep it in mind throughout your day, or pass it to someone else who needs a boost. So it's a little bit about Johanna there. And then we've got the box and the cards itself. So beautiful green, spring green box. We'll lift out the cards. And I believe this will be the stand. Yeah, so you put your card in the stand. There was some discussion online about whether or not to open this up, but I don't think it's meant to be opened up. I'm pretty sure it's either made of thick card or maybe some really thin wood. It feels really sturdy, but I don't think these flaps are meant to be opened. I think this just sits on your desk with the card in it and keeps it, you know, upright. So we've got the little green belly band around it. Let's just get that off. Yeah, the cards are really big, bigger than I thought. You know, they're quite cumbersome to get your hand around, but I'm glad they're bigger than I thought, because that gives us more space to colour in. So we'll go through the cards. Now on the back, it just says illustration by Johanna Basford from Notes of Nature. So there's nothing on the back. If you wanted to use one as a postcard, I suppose you could do, just write an address and put a stamp on it. Let's have a look then. So we've got, I find joy in small things. And obviously we've got Johanna's signature, you know, natural flowers, animals, nature, that kind of thing. With Johanna, you're always going to get a lot of leaves, a lot of flowers, and just really pretty illustrations. So I surround myself with strength and beauty. I embrace every season. So that's nice. We've got some holly, isn't it? A mistletoe, tulips for spring. We've got some acorns for autumn. These look like, well, I don't know, they could be sunflowers, I guess, for summer. I have the power to transform. This is good because you've got the caterpillar turning into the butterfly. So I like how the illustrations tie in with the affirmation as well. I play a vital role in this world. And of course, bees, one of my favourite creatures, and they really are vital. I remember reading somewhere once that if we didn't have bees, like everything, the whole earth would just go to pot. I don't know how that works, but obviously it's to do with pollination and stuff. A flower does not concern itself with other flowers, it simply blooms. So this is a nice one when you're sort of comparing your colouring maybe online with other people. I get that quite a lot. I do it myself. I don't think you're human if you don't compare yourself sometimes, but I guess this is just reminding you that you've got your own path. You know, you don't have to compare. and, you know, comparison's the thief of joy. So I grow in adversity. So the adversity in this card is all the thorny branches that are surrounding this beautiful rose, and it grows throughout. I will weather this storm as I have those before it. So this is a ribbon illustration, but it does have movement to it. It's almost like a flurry of leaves going with the wind. So that's nice. In the rain, I look for the rainbow. So again, that would be a fantastic colouring card. Rainbow colours, we've got the rain coming down and the flowers at the bottom. I nurture my dreams. So this is not, the illustrations aren't really sort of connecting to the affirmation, but I guess, you know, there's quite a lot of blooms here, so nurturing will create more yield, I suppose. What I nurture will grow. Little floral heart. I have a zest for life. Then we've got the lemons or the limes. That's really fun. I deserve the opportunity to grow. It's a nighttime scene, I think, with all the stars around it. I move at my own pace. I grow more vibrant every day. I really like this starburst sort of look. Be nice to put some pastel, soft pastel on the inside of there. My potential unfolds like petals in the sun. I shine with the quiet strength of the moon. Nice floral moon. I'm grateful for every new day. Even the mightiest oak came from a tiny acorn. Really like that one. I trust the path ahead of me. I find my flow in the things I love. Every snowflake teaches me the beauty of individuality. That's cool. I'm needed and I'm cherished. I stand tall and proud. The stillness of nature brings me peace and focus. I shine like golden leaves in sunlight. Autumnal one there. I soar above when others seek to bring me down. I'm prepared for whatever life brings. Really like this one, it's more of a scene. I live in the present. I'm as resilient as wildflowers in the wind. That's a nice one as well. So there are the cards. I've been through every single affirmation. Let's talk about the quality of the cards themselves. So they are really thick. I've looked online, I've looked on the box. I can't see anything stating how thick they are, but let me just do the ping test. So yeah, they are really, really thick. I'm guessing that you'll be able to use whatever you want on these. Probably alcohol markers will bleed through because they'll bleed through pretty much anything. Unless it's, you know, proper specialist alcohol marker paper. But definitely water media. Definitely, I can see that being absolutely fine. So if we stick one of these in the stand, we can see how they stand up. So I'll turn them over. I'll give them a bit of a shuffle. And then we'll choose one for today. Let's choose this one. I will weather this storm as I have those before it. So let's pop that in the stand. You know, when I first saw this stand and I thought, why has it got a wavy line on it? Your card's going to be all wavy at the bottom. No, it just fits in and it's absolutely fine. So that's what it looks like when it's in the stand, and you just have that on your desk, I guess, you know, to have a look at throughout the day or the week. When you want to. But you know what we want to know really is how they are to colour, because that's why you're here. So yeah, I'm really pleased with them. The quality is spot on, and I never expected anything less from Johanna because her quality is always fantastic. So I guess what we'll do then is do a bit of colouring on them. Now I thought, because these are quite a special product, it's not, you know, it's not your typical colouring book that's going to sit back on the shelf. It's going to be something seen. It's going to be something on display. So I thought, let's do something a little bit special with them. And, you know, maybe I will colour some of them with coloured pencil and whatever else. But I really feel like these need some special shiny paint. And that means I'm going to bring my KJ Design by Karen paints out. And we're going to give these cards a bit of a paint. So I'm going to choose one first that I really like. So let's see. I'm going to go with this one. So it's the rainbow one, and yeah, I want to do some really sparkly rainbow colours on that. So I'm going to get the KJ paint out. And I will leave a link for Karen's Etsy store as well, because every time I show Karen's paints on a video, I always get people asking me, what are they? Where can I get them from? They're amazing. So I don't disagree with you. They're absolutely fantastic. So I'll leave that link in the description. So this is obviously rainbow coloured. Have we got enough rainbow? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so we need to find a red, first of all. So these are some of my KJ Design by Karen colours. And here are all of our red tones. And I absolutely adore the Chinese red. It does have a bit of a brown hue when it's out of the light, this one here. But when it's in the light, it's the most glorious red. So I think I'm going to be using that one, Chinese red. Just put a little bit of water on the Chinese red. And unlike sort of mass-produced metallic paints, this will start to melt instantly. So you don't have to kind of spray them or wet them and leave it for 10 minutes for them to start melting. These melt immediately. And I've probably put too much water on there actually. You only need a slight bit with Karen's paints because they're so pigmented. Even the littlest sort of bit of water will give you a really good payoff. So let's start with the red then. And what I think I'll do is skip a colour, because you can guarantee if I now go and do the orange underneath, it's all going to bleed together because every single time I paint, I'm too impatient to wait for things to dry. And then I end up having bleeding situations with the paint. So I am noticing there's a little bit of resist on these cards. So we'll see how we go. Might need to do a couple of layers. Normally with Karen's paints, you only need one layer, but the card itself is resisting. So that's unusual. I don't know what these cards are made of. Like I said, I don't know what type of card. I don't believe there's a coating on them, but there must be something if we're getting areas of resist. We'll just see how we go for now. They are ivory in colour as well. They're not bright white, which is actually quite nice. I think they'd look a bit harsh if they were bright white. There we go. Yeah, so we do have areas of resist. Let me show you. Just on the edges, the top edge and the bottom edge of the bit that I've painted. So like I said, we're going to skip a colour now. So we need to go on to a yellow. So I need to find a nice yellow. Let's have a look. I would say buttercup. That's quite a nice warm yellow, isn't it? The corn is nice. It's quite bright, but it tends to go a little bit green out of the light, whereas the buttercup doesn't. So I think we'll go for the buttercup. That's a nice one. Just show you it in the light there. Yeah, this one. Let's just give this a bit of water. And then instantly start painting and getting beautiful opaque payoff. I believe that Karen uses clove oil in her paints because you can smell it. You know that I always associate it with toothache, which is not good, but I also really like cloves, like not to eat but to smell. So I always have wax melts with cloves in around autumn, winter time, and I love the smell. So every time I open up Karen's paints, you get hit with that beautiful, rich clove smell. Still getting some areas of resist, and I'm not sure why. I'm feeling the front of the card, and to me there's not a coating on it, but there has to be something for it to resist. Like I said, we can always go back in and do a second coat if needed. It's just quite annoying because you never need to do that with Karen's paints. So the card itself is working against me at the moment. Right, so there's the yellow. Now we're going to skip the green and go into blue. So these are the blues that we've got. And we want a kind of a lightish one, don't we? Should we go for a more green toned blue? So obviously, let's just go through this like we're in preschool. So red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. So indigo would be something like, let me see, indigo. Maybe like this deep peacock colour. That will be really nice. So we want something that's more of a royal blue or a rich blue. What about this one called Scylla? This is a gorgeous one. So again, just a little bit of water, no time at all needed before you've got beautiful payoff. It might be worth noting about this resist. You know, if there are people that want to buy these specifically to paint them, I mean, can you see that where it's like shrinking away? Just to let you know that you probably will need a couple of coats of whatever paint you're using. But you know, maybe Johanna sort of decided on the best paper for pencils, even though you can use paints on them, as I'm doing right now. Maybe this paper, this card, works better for pencils, and that was more of a priority. But I mean, it's not a massive deal, is it? You just do another layer, but you can see straight away how that's resisted. I'm no good at being careful and precise, so don't be surprised if I go over the lines. Okay, that will do. Then we need to look for a nice purple. So if we're going to use the deep peacock for our indigo colour, we want something that's a bit different to that. We don't really want a blue purple, do we? So let's look for something that will go nicely next to that. This aster keeps catching my eye. That's a stunning one. I'm also looking at the wisteria. That's really nice. Just trying to, again, compare it to the peacock, see which one will go. I think the aster, I think that one's the winner. Instant repellent there. It's a good job I did this test actually, because I don't normally use paints like, you know, I do use paints, but I don't use them as often, of course, as I use pencils. So usually I would have gone straight in with pencils on these kind of products, but I thought, no, they've got to be nice and blingy and sparkly and special. So it is a good job really that I did that kind of test to show you. I will have to come back over that one because it's not having it. I'd definitely be curious to know what kind of card this is and whether it's coated. So I've got the Inklings book coming next week when it's released. Would you like to see me do some painting, some shiny painting in that as well on that video? Because I just feel like these cards aren't representing these paints. They're not doing them justice. And I always want to shout and rave about these paints because they're just the best thing. Paints are really expensive, right? Especially handmade paints. They're expensive because they're handmade, and oftentimes there's only one person at the end of it that's doing all the work. And you know, they've got to make some kind of profit. That's what you're going to business for. But even the mass-produced paints, like the Caleros, the fine tech Caleros, are really quite expensive for what they are. And yet they're nowhere near as good as these. So it just makes me think, I want people to know that there are better places to spend your money if you're looking for a product like metallic paints, because how many are there on Temu and Shein and, you know, all those, even Etsy, there's just, you know, these rubbishy mass-produced ones. Right, so I've done the purple. Let's just see if I can put a little bit more on there now that it's dried up slightly. Still fighting me. So let's just swizz the card round and go back to our Chinese red and then do a little second coat and see what it does on the resist areas. Another thing you could do would be to put some gesso down, because I think that's how you prepare. I'm not really flig with gesso, like I don't really know a lot about it, but I know that it's used as like a preparing agent for putting media on top of things that may not have the right surface for that media. So maybe some gesso would work, just to get rid of or cover up whatever coating is on these cards. That's worked quite nicely. So second coat, happy with that. Now we'll go to the buttercup, because I might as well do a second coat on all of them so we can see exactly how they look together. I will try some coloured pencil on this as well, because I'm curious now to see how that works with whatever texture is put on this. So obviously we've got to do the in-between colours of the rainbow, but while we wait for that to properly dry, let's do some pencil work. I've got some polychromos and some Prismas, which are the two sort of like wax and oil, and they're the ones that I use to test things and how they use with wax, how they work with wax and oil. So let's grab this Pale Geranium Lake. What's this one? Dark red, that'll do. Let's get a nice orange as well. That one in the middle, I think. What are you? This is dark chrome yellow. Let's try these together as a nice sort of sunset blend. Ooh. Straight away, like instantly, they're going on like butter. They really are going down very nicely indeed. Let's see how it blends. I thought I'd smudge my paint then. Obviously, polychromos are oil-based and you're meant to layer them, but I don't. I usually don't. I just get in there and colour with them. Let's try a Prisma, because they tend to work on absolutely everything. So let's go for a dark purple and a Scarlet Lake. What's this? Pale Vermilion. Let's go for that one. They feel like super smooth as you're putting them down. Sorry about the noise in the background, that's my husband's phone going off. Just ignore it. Right, so I'll bring that up to camera. Can you see at the bottom where the wax is collecting and it's creating those darker areas? I think looking at these two, the polychromos actually looks the better of the two. Let's be fair to it though, and because that is a purple and I'm trying to blend a purple into a red, which usually is absolutely fine, but let's be fair to it and grab a darker red, something that's toned. So this Tuscan red, let's do it again with that. Right, let's go for this one then. So Tuscan red. And then what was next? Scarlet Lake. And Pale Vermilion. Let's see what that one looks like. Better, definitely better. We're not getting much of the separation, but you know, maybe I'm just being really picky. And you know, these flowers from a distance look absolutely fine. Maybe I'm scrutinizing them far too much. And of course, with the paint, all you needed, it was another coat. So yeah, pencils, you can use your polys, you can use your Prismas. So I guess that means you can use most of your oil or wax-based pencils. Just beware that they might feel a bit different and they might turn out a little bit different than they would do on normal paper, normal colouring book paper. But you can still do a basic blend, and it's not, you know, it's not a piece of posh artwork, is it? It's just a colouring card, so we don't need to scrutinise it. Right, so I think now I'll be able to paint in some of the rest of the rainbow. So we're looking for an orange. Oh, that marigold is screaming at me straight away. What do you reckon? Marigold. let's go for that one. Beautiful. Now we need a green. I am really liking lime. I think that's a nice sort of mid-tone, but still quite bright green, because we've got a bright rainbow going on, so we don't want to go into anything but deeper than that. Keep trying to add paint because it's resisting that much. If I add more paint onto it, it can't resist as much as it does. It's weird, it's very strange. Right, so that's our green. Now we want that indigo colour, which I already chose, and that was Deep Peacock. That's really nice. Right, so let's see how that one dries, see if we need to do another coating, but so far it's looking gorgeous. Right, what am I going to do about the rest of the flowers? So I've done a few red and orangey kind of blendy ones. What else should I do? What about some nice blue flowers? So let me just put these pencils away so I don't get mixed up. Cerulean blue. That actually might be better. Cerulean. And then I want something a bit lighter, so let's jump straight to a maybe non-photo blue. Those two will work quite well together. Right, so this is a cerulean Prisma. Just going to go around the bottom of this little tulip sort of flower. I put the pencil in my mouth and then realised I have to talk, this is a video. Now this is the non-photo blue. Just leave a very slight bit of white on the edge. I think I also want something slightly darker. I've got the Indanthrone blue. Let's just layer a little bit of that at the bottom. I mean, it's the slightest of things, but to me it makes the difference to have that more of a contrast. There we go, so I'll bring that up to camera. If I can grab hold of it. You know, I had a really horrible comment from someone today saying maybe you'd be able to pick things up if you didn't have ridiculous nails on. And the nails were shorter than these, which I think these are just kind of like a normal medium length. Ugh, anyway, let's have a look then. So that's gone on quite nicely. Yeah. So I think I'll do another one or two with this colour palette. Let's go for this one here, and I'm going straight in with the Indanthrone. My Elvis nail's chipped at the bottom. I've tried to fill it in with some Posca pen just before I, you know, have to go and get all my gels out and do it again. But I'm going to see Epic on Sunday, which is the new film that's come out with never before seen footage of Elvis's concert. So I'm really excited to go and see that. Okay, I think that'll do. Now, what other colour should I use? So we've got blue. I think it's going to be... I've got to get some yellow in there, but I also want purple. Let's see what I can do. So I'll put these blues away. Let's just take a quick look at the yellows that I've got here. Let's do this one in polys, actually. So I've got the cadmium yellow. I want something a bit deeper, so let's go into a bit of a lighter orange. What's this one? Cadmium orange. So this is like carrying on this blend, but going even lighter. So let's go next to the blue. So I've got the cadmium orange in the middle. Already I know that I'm going to put something darker in the centre here. I do like to maximise contrast wherever possible. It's just the way that I colour. I've got the cadmium yellow all the way around. Just leaving again that little touch of white on the edges. And yeah, I do want to get something just a bit deeper, so let's go for the dark cadmium orange just right in the middle. There we go. Just get that middle orange again and just bring it out, because this flower sort of comes out a lot more down here at the bottom, so I'll just bring that out a bit further. I mean, I'm doing this quickly for demonstration. It might not feel quick. Feels like I've been going on forever, but I am doing this roughly for demonstration. So I've done a bit of colouring with pencils. I've done some colouring with paints or painting, whatever. As you can see, I've almost trowelled on that blue at the end there just to get it to cover that resistance, but still, it's really pretty. And yeah, I think it will be an enjoyable, fun activity for anyone to do really, but you can do it with your kids, you know, you can do it with anyone, you can do it with your friends, have a little colouring party and each have a card, I don't know. But yeah, they're really nice. I really like them. I like the packaging, everything's been done beautifully. And yeah, I just really want to know what you think now. So I will leave a link in the description for Amazon to go and buy these if you want to do. And yeah, let me know your comments. Okay, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you soon on Colour with Claire.